Ever feel like, you're just scratching the surface? Like there's this whole other level of you just waiting to come out.
You mean like unlocking your true potential?
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people feel that way, which is why we're diving into the wisdom of Swami Vivekananda today. You've brought some of his teachings on personality development, and I gotta say, I'm ready for some serious aha moments.
Oh, you are in for a treat. What makes Vivekananda so fascinating is he doesn't just talk about personality traits, like you're an introvert or an extrovert. He goes deeper.
Deeper, like how?
He breaks down the mind's mechanics into four functions: chitta, manas, buddhi, and ahamkara.
Okay, so it's like he's taking the engine in our minds apart, showing us how each part works so we can, what, like fine-tune it for better performance?
Exactly. Think of chitta as your mind's memory bank, right? Every experience, every impression you've ever had, it's all stored there in your subconscious.
Okay, so everything, even the stuff we don't remember.
Especially the stuff you don't remember. It influences your thoughts, your actions, even if you don't consciously realize it.
That actually explains a lot. Sometimes I walk into a room and I don't know, I just feel uneasy, like I can never put my finger on why.
See, that's chitta at work. Some past experience, maybe you've totally forgotten about it, is shaping your emotions in the present.
Wow, that's kind of wild when you think about it. Okay, so we've got Chitta, the memory bank. What about Manas?
Manas is like your mind's deliberation center. This is where you're analyzing, weighing possibilities. If chitta is the remembering, manas is the contemplating.
Okay, so we've got the memory bank, the contemplation station. What does Buddhi do?
Buddhi, that's where things get really interesting. This is your decision maker, your willpower, the charioteer of your mind, if you will.
The charioteer. I like that.
Buddhi helps you see right from wrong, real from unreal, guides you toward what truly matters.
Like our inner compass then, right? Helping us navigate all the choices we've got to make every single day.
Exactly. Now, where does ahamkara fit into all of this? This is your I consciousness, that feeling of I am, the sense of self.
Okay, seems pretty straightforward. What's the catch?
Well, Vivekananda suggests that when we only identify with our body and mind, that constant chatter of I want, I feel, I need, we actually limit ourselves.
We get stuck in the, what is it, the I, me, mine?
Precisely. And that's where one of Vivekananda's most powerful teachings comes in. The chariot analogy. Imagine your mind is a chariot.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The intellect, our friend Buddhi, that's the charioteer, holding the reins.
Okay, I'm with you.
Our senses, those are the horses, always pulling us in different directions.
Always, right. So many distractions.
And the passenger, that's our true self, the Atman, just along for the ride.
Okay, so wait. If I'm understanding this right, you're saying that most of the time, our senses, our desires, all those cravings, they're the ones actually calling the shots. And we're not really in control.
For many of us, unfortunately, that's true, at least to some extent.
Okay, but that doesn't sound so good. So how do we fix it?
Well, Vivekananda believed that by understanding these different parts of ourselves and really cultivating our buddhi, our willpower, we can take back the reins, so to speak, become masters of our minds rather than slaves to our desires.
So it's about finding that balance then, between our senses and our intellect and our true selves, not letting one overpower the others.
Exactly. It's about realizing our potential for self-mastery.
That sounds amazing in theory, but how do we actually do that? Where do we even begin?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Well, Vivekananda was very clear that our character, who we are, it's a culmination of all our past actions and thoughts. And this is the empowering part, he also said that we can consciously shape our future.
Wait, so we're not just stuck with the baggage of our past?
No, we've got the power to change, to evolve, by making different choices in the present.
So we become the authors of our own destiny.
Precisely. It's about taking ownership of our thoughts, recognizing the impact they have on who we become. But, we all stumble, right?
Right, absolutely. All the time. So what did he say about dealing with those inevitable setbacks? Because it can't all be smooth sailing on this self-improvement journey, right?
And that's what I find so refreshing about Vivekananda's perspective. He didn't shy away from failure, he embraced it.
Embraced it.
He saw it not as a setback, but as a teacher, an opportunity for growth.
So it's like that saying, you learn more from your failures than your successes.
Exactly. Vivekananda challenges us to ask, what can we learn from this? How can we use this to refine our character, to move forward with greater wisdom, greater resilience?
So we're shedding the fear of failure, understanding that it's not the opposite of success, but actually like a crucial ingredient, Man, this is some profound stuff.
Hmm.
And there's this other thing, right? This idea that there's a divine element within each of us.
Yes. Vivekananda believed that deep within each of us, there's this potential for goodness, for wisdom, for limitless capability.
I think that's something a lot of people are searching for, this feeling that there's something greater within themselves.
Yeah.
But how do we tap into that? How do we make it real in our lives? What did Vivekananda say about that? It's like we're talking about this hidden power source within us, this like divine potential just waiting to be unleashed. But how do we actually tap into that? How do we make it real in our lives?
Well, Vivekananda didn't just talk about these concepts abstractly. He offered practical tools for transformation. In these excerpts you shared, he emphasizes willpower. Strengthening that is like the cornerstone of his whole philosophy.
Right? It's like he's saying, okay, you've got this incredible potential. Now here's how you build the inner strength to actually access it.
Exactly. And he talks about specific qualities to cultivate, with faith being, the most fundamental.
Faith in a higher power or faith in oneself.
Both, actually. Vivekananda talks about having faith in our true nature, that divine spark within each of us. But he also emphasizes believing in ourselves, in our ability to grow and evolve. He even says faith in oneself. It's a prerequisite to any other kind of faith.
Which makes sense, right? If we don't believe in our own potential, how can we ever hope to achieve anything worthwhile? But this isn't about blind faith, is it?
No, 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 not at all. It's about pairing that belief with action. And this is where positive thinking comes in, but not just in like a superficial good vibes only way.
Right, not just slapping a smiley face on everything.
Exactly. Vivekananda is talking about a conscious choice to align our thoughts with our goals, with our values.
So becoming aware of those negative thought patterns that hold us back and saying, nope, I'm choosing to replace those with something more empowering.
Yes. It's like, when you're weeding a garden, you pull out the things that are hindering the growth of the good stuff. It's the same idea.
I love that analogy.
Yep.
And speaking of growth, didn't Vivekananda also talk about self-reliance?
Oh, absolutely. That was huge for him. We are the architects of our own destinies. We shape our lives through the choices we make.
So no blaming external circumstances? No blaming other people for our shortcomings?
Exactly. It's incredibly empowering when you think about it. The power is in our hands.
It really is. But he also talked about service, right? Which seems a little, counterintuitive at first. Like, if we're focusing on self-reliance, how does helping others fit in?
Right, you wouldn't automatically connect those two. But Vivekananda saw selfless service as a powerful engine for growth.
Really? So how does that work?
Well, he believed that shifting our focus from me, to the needs of others, it unlocks something, a deeper well of compassion and empathy.
So by helping others, we're actually helping ourselves to grow.
In a way, yes. We expand our understanding of the world, our place in it, and we might even find a sense of purpose that goes beyond our own individual pursuits.
Wow. That's actually really profound. Okay, but let's be real. All of this dead, the faith, the positive thinking, the self-reliance, the service, it takes effort, right? It takes discipline, resilience. How did Vivekananda address that inner struggle that we all face when we're trying to cultivate these qualities? Because it's not easy.
Oh, he acknowledged it completely. He even had a name for it, the struggle with the lower mind, those ingrained habits, desires, negative tendencies that try to pull us off course. But he also said that this struggle, as challenging as it can be, it elevates us, allows us to tap into our true potential.
So it's like a muscle we have to train.
Yeah.
The more we exercise our willpower, the stronger it gets.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And one way to train that muscle is by confronting our fears, embracing challenges, learning from our mistakes. And this is where those insights about character really become relevant. Remember, our character is formed by our past thoughts and actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking ownership for the choices that have shaped us.
Yeah.
But we can also make new choices, create a different path moving forward.
Exactly. But how does this all tie into personal magnetism?
That's what I'm wondering, because that's a big part of Vivekananda's teachings too, right?
Absolutely. And this is where things get really interesting. He said, true strength of character, the kind that draws others in, it's not about appearances. It's not about social maneuvering or anything like that. It's about aligning ourselves with our deepest values, pursuing self-mastery, not for recognition, but for the fulfillment it brings.
So it's about embodying those qualities we've been talking about. Faith, self-reliance, service, not as a way to get something, but as an expression of who we really are.
Yes. And Vivekananda believed that this alignment with our higher selves, this is what creates true magnetism, this inner strength, this genuine authenticity. It draws people in. It inspires them to connect with their own potential.
You know, it makes me think of people who have had a real impact on my life.
Mm.
And it's not always about what they say or do, but who they are at their core.
You can just feel it.
Exactly. And that brings us to one of Vivekananda's most powerful assertions. Are you ready for this?
Hit me with it.
Each soul is potentially divine. That capacity for greatness, for influence, it's already within us. It's part of our very nature. Okay, now I'm getting chills. That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
But then why aren't we all just walking around like radiating this incredible magnetism? What's holding us back?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Vivekananda would say it's those layers of conditioning, the limiting beliefs, the identification with the ego that keeps us from stepping into our power.
It's like we've forgotten our own strength, lost ourselves in the noise of everyday life.
In a way, yes. He used this analogy of like light shining through colored glass. The light, that's the divine spark. It's always there. But how it shines out, it depends on the clarity of our own being.
So it's about removing the filters, the limitations, so we can fully express that inner light.
Exactly. And that's the work, right? Continuously refining ourselves, peeling back those layers so we can embody that divine potential, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
This idea of personal magnetism being a byproduct of inner growth, that is incredibly powerful. Not about manipulating or controlling others, but just becoming a beacon, inspiring others by being the best versions of ourselves.
And that leads us to another important point, the role of the mind in shaping our experiences. Vivekananda believed that our thoughts have a real impact, not just on our internal world, but on our external circumstances too.
So he's not just talking about personal development in isolation. He's connecting it to our ability to create positive change in the world.
Absolutely. The transformation of the individual and the transformation of society, they're inseparable. And this is where his teachings on service, on compassion, they become even more significant.
It's recognizing that we're all connected and that our personal growth has a ripple effect.
Precisely. It can influence the lives of those around us and contribute to a more compassionate and just world.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is when you really start to think about it.
And that brings us to one of Vivekananda's most potent ideas, education. He saw it as a tool for both individual and societal transformation.
That's fascinating. So tell me, how did he think education could create that kind of change? Education is a tool for transformation.
Mhm.
That's a big idea. But it makes sense, right? When you empower people with knowledge and understanding, there's no limit to what they can achieve. So what did Vivekananda have in mind when he talked about education? What did he think that looked like?
Well, for Vivekananda, it wasn't just about cramming your head full of facts and figures.
Right, not just memorizing a bunch of stuff you'll forget right after the test.
Exactly. He was talking about igniting the potential within each person, fostering critical thinking, helping them develop a real sense of purpose. He wanted education to empower people to become agents of change in their own lives, for sure, but also in the world around them.
So it's about more than just getting a job then.
Oh, way more. It's about leading a meaningful life, about having the tools and the mindset to actually make a difference. He saw education as a path to personal and societal transformation. Absolutely.
I love that. It's a much more holistic way of looking at education, isn't it? Not just preparing people for jobs, but for lives that are well-rounded, that have meaning and purpose.
Yes. And this idea of service, of using our abilities to make the world a better place, it comes up again and again in Vivekananda's teachings. He really believed that true fulfillment comes not from chasing after what we want for ourselves, but from dedicating ourselves to something larger.
So we're back to that idea of interconnectedness, right? That we're all part of something bigger and that our actions have an impact.
Yes. And it's a powerful reminder that our own personal growth and serving others, they're not separate things. They go hand in hand.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, it's amazing. The intricate workings of the mind. Those profound metaphors, practical tools for personal transformation, it's all thanks to the wisdom of Swami Vivekananda. We've learned about the fourfold functions of the mind, the power of the chariot analogy, the importance of self-reliance, of service, and the potential of education to really transform lives. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that true fulfillment, it doesn't come from achieving things in the outside world, but from cultivating our inner strength and using that to have a positive impact on the world around us.
It's been incredible to explore these ideas with you, really. It makes you wonder. If we really are, as Vivekananda said, children of immortal bliss, capable of such greatness, such love, then what would it take for us to actually embrace that, to live it? What kind of world could we create if we all committed to living out our highest potential, not just for ourselves, but for everyone?
Wow, that's a powerful question to sit with. It's a call to action, isn't it? A reminder that we all have a part to play in creating a better future. And as we've seen today, the rewards, they're immeasurable for ourselves and for the world around us. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.